Welcome to Kidmin Backstage, the place where we talk about kids ministry and take a peek behind the scenes. We try to share a little bit of what we've learned that works for us and some of our failures so you can avoid them. We release a new episode every Friday, and this is your backstage pass to see the magic or disaster that happens behind the scenes of our kids ministry. I'm your host, Gabe Baker, and today I am joined by Brother Aaron Boggs.
Hello, sir.
How's it going?
Fantastic. How are you?
Good. Well, what are we talking about today?
So we're going to talk about the checklist.
The checklist. So I've been on this kick last few podcasts, and I try to have variety, and I don't know, I just can't get away from it. But and it's funny because I was looking at our last one, and
we fall into the same vein.
It's a very similar idea. You know, we talked about what you don't see, you know, behind the scenes in successes, but the premise today with the checklist is basically like success, whatever that definition might be. But when you're successful, whether it's in leadership, and that's what we talk a lot about, leadership on this podcast, even though it's kids ministry. But if it's leadership, it's business, it's just your personal growth, or if it's a ministry, this doesn't arrive like in a clap of thunder and a lightning bolt. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And so usually, almost always, it's the result of just persistent, steady, small steps, persistent effort. And so it's accumulation of all those things and being intentional. So these intentional actions, they compound over time.
Yes.
So now we all, myself included, we like to celebrate the big breakthroughs. When you see, you know, like, oh, wow, that was amazing that that person just did that or whatever. But really, it's usually the behind the scenes before that ever. Like, I have testified about this before, and I've talked about it, I don't know, countless times on the podcast, I'm sure. But David and Goliath, that story was the big breakthrough that everybody saw. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, even if it was not just on David, if it was like, wow, look what God did through David, but it was a result of these small steps nobody ever saw when he was out in the field singing songs and praying, and you know, so it was still all these. And so that's the premise today. And the checklist, the idea there is that basically we talk a lot about systems and discipline, but the checklist can help you maintain those disciplines, you know.
It's very true, and it's interesting timing for me personally. In my life, I've got big changes kind of in the mix as we speak even. And so I've found that, in fact, last night at work I've got this huge calendar that's like paper.
Oh, like a desk calendar?
Yeah, almost like a desk calendar, but it folds. It's just huge.
Oh, but it's like
a planner,
You carry it around.
Yeah, and it barely fits in my backpack.
Let me get my calendar.
Yeah. Let me look into 2047. Yeah. And so I've got everything highlighted right now on, you know, routine work, school, whatever it is. And
like color-coded, you mean?
Color-coded.
Oh, okay, nice.
And I mean, I like the iPhone. I like using the notes and the calendar on there, but I'm very visual, and I like books. I like paper, and so it's really good timing. And when you brought up David, I had already wrote this note down, so it might be a good time to throw it in. I was listening to Brother Wilson the other day, and he was speaking at a young ministers conference back east, and he made the statement about David. And I was listening, I was working, and I was just kind of soaking it in, and I had to pause it and rewind it to make sure I heard it right, and I wrote it down. And speaking of David specifically, he said, David was proficient in private before being proficient in public.
Oh, that's good.
And so it goes to what you just said. It goes to the first time he ever played the harp was not when he played it for Saul to soothe the evil spirit.
Right, yeah.
The first time he, picked up that sling was not when he faced Goliath. The first time he fought in any kind of battle was not in a battle. It was when nobody saw. It was those hours and days and weeks and years of preparation.
Right.
that
Yeah.
culminated into who he was.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, because that's what I talk about with David and Goliath. Is that was his? I call it the spotlight moment.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he did all the things in the dark before there was ever a spotlight, on him.
And guess what happened after Goliath? Went back to the field.
He went back to the field.
Back to the field for a while.
Yep. Yes, and that's true too. That can happen too. You can get a big break. Somebody asks you to come speak or something like, here it goes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, our first point here is greatness is built on small things. So greatness is built on small things. And here's, we talk about the compound effect. It's a great book, by the way, Darren Hardy. And so consistency compounds, and daily habits, and a lot of this we are reiterating, but I don't think it can be overstated.
Sure.
How powerful daily habits
Very
are.
true.
So whether you're studying or setting up the Sunday school room or just preparing mentally, whatever, the routine or the habits, that's what creates greatness.
Yeah.
As long as they're the right ones.
Right, exactly. As long as they're good habits.
So I think I might have mentioned this before, but I'll just mention it. There's a book, John Maxwell's book. I think it's Today Matters. That's one of my favorites out of the, I think, 97 that he's written.
112.
Is it 112?
I don't know.
It's something. I did I was talking, I was actually in a leadership meeting not too long ago, and I was saying, I was trying to figure out how many he wrote and how many I've read, because I read a lot of his stuff. Yeah. And I think he's written 97. It's a little bit hard to tell because some of them are new editions and they have a different title.
Yeah.
But so I think it's 97, and I've read like 63 of them. So
that's awesome.
I got a little ways to go, but but anyway, one of the things he says in Today Matters, I'm pretty sure it's that book. He says, "I could spend one day with you and tell if you are going to be successful or not." Something along those lines. Sure. And he said when he mentions that, like at conferences or whatever, when he says that, people have a strong reaction. And he said sometimes people think he's being arrogant.
Yeah.
And he says not that he's being arrogant. It's because what you do daily reflects what you will become. And so that has stuck with me, and not that I've conquered it at all by any means, but it's stuck with me. Is like, okay, what if somebody saw my day today?
Yeah.
And then like I started doing this at work about, I think it's about 2 years ago now. It's an appointment on my calendar at the end of every day. It's a 15-minute appointment, and I do a task review. Oh, nice. And it's kind of that same idea, like, okay, so what did I actually accomplish today?
Yeah.
What did I actually get done today in line with, the projects that I'm doing and everything. And so anyway, so it's just, it's a powerful thing to think about. That is what you do today, every day.
Every day.
And
that the obvious example there, the easy one, I think, for people to understand is in health and fitness and working out, exercising, eating good, because that is the results of that you can see, I think, easier than being a better person and reading better and internally getting better, because you can see the weight fall off, the muscles show, getting in shape, feeling better, looking better. But it's the same concept. It's just what you do every day. And I always tease my wife. She'll work out and she'll just kill it. She'll just, when she starts, she'll go and won't stop. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to work out today. And I'll work out. And I'm like, all right, how do I look? Are my muscles bigger yet?
Yeah.
Like, can you see it? Can you tell I worked out today? First day in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Because we want to see those, we're instant results, but it's the little things.
Yeah. And I think that, and we do got to move on to our next thing, but I do think that, I talked about this with Brother Kyle, is just talking about like this is what we do, and the more that we can approach it that way of it's hard because we want to see those instant results.
Yeah.
But if we can back off of being like goal driven and be more like system driven or whatever, like where this is just what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in the same vein with the greatness is built on small things, is excellence hides in the details. And so the gap between, like Jim Collins wrote the book Good to Great, the gap between being good and being great, and by the way, good is the enemy of great, because it's like that's good enough. But that gap is often just, it's a few overlooked steps, it's a few details. So one of the things I just thought of this right now, and this is perfect because you're a very talented musician, is like in music, I have heard, you know how a pastor, like when he makes us, he's not as involved as he used to be, but when he would have us learn a song, he would make us do it like exact. I mean, like he would even get sheet music, and make sure
note.
like, oh no, you're not hitting that fifth or whatever. And so I've heard music where, there's like the original cut, and then somebody has done a cover, like two different people do a cover. Yeah. And you hear one and it's like, man, that sounds awesome. It sounds just like it. Or maybe they have their own flavor, but it's really good. And then another one that doesn't sound quite as good. And on the surface of it, it's, I think, especially if you're not a musician, you don't know why. Yeah. Right? It's like, well, it's the same tempo. They're still singing the parts, and everything, but it's those little details in the chord. Like instead of 3 fingers, they're using 5 fingers, or whatever.
Coming from my brain of like 2 hands, 2 different chords. You have like one chord that's like 6 notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true because we've been using tracks the last couple of years now, especially to learn. We'll learn a song. We'll buy all the split tracks. And it's like you listen to the whole song, and even as a musician, you're listening for your instrument, and you hear the overall sound, and it's, man, that's good. But then you play just the keyboard or just piano track.
Oh yeah,
it's like this guy is going bananas right now.
Yeah,
and trying to figure out what he's doing. Sometimes they do even more than what is like on the chord charts. And you're just, your son's great at this. He'll sit there and listen and try to figure that out, and he'll look it up, what chord they're hitting, and
go over and over. Yeah.
And you can't tell. But then if you were to take those out and listen to the song, you could tell, okay, something's missing. It's like the organ.
Yeah, and
nowadays.
something's gone.
Something's gone. You take the organ out nowadays, and you can tell something's different because it's not front and center like it used to be. So, but it blends in. But when it's gone, you could tell.
You can tell. Yeah, it drops out. Yeah, it's so true. And it's funny too. I mean, this fits right in what we're talking about small things. Is sometimes you listen to those tracks, and it's like if you look on Ableton or something, whatever you're playing it on, and you look for the sound waves, like you see anything, and then all of a sudden it's like right here, like I don't remember what song it is, but there's nothing, and then the guitar comes in, it's like, and then that's it, and then it does something a little later, and then it strums, and to me it boggles my mind. I mean, so Adrian is kind of learning to produce stuff, and so he's looking at that stuff, but it boggles my mind, like, how do you come up with, like, if I'm doing that, I'm just like, okay, let's have the guitar, let's play the whole thing with the guitar now. Let's play the whole thing with the piano. Yeah. But they don't. They don't. They have those little pieces.
Well, it goes back to an orchestra. You look at an orchestra, especially if you're watching one live or a video of one, and you've got this beautiful music. And I think of one called Honor by Hans Zimmer. And it's played on, like, a lot of war movies or a lot of war documentaries.
Oh, okay.
It's you don't even have to know that it was played on a war movie to feel it. It's just one of those songs you just feel it right when, and it's got some French horns and a lot of violins, but you listen and you watch, and they'll be playing the music, and then the violins will come in here,
just a little spot, bit,
and then they'll wait 12 measures, and they'll come in and do that again. Wow. And it just builds on itself, and they're sitting there waiting for that part, and then they come in, and when they hit it, and it's each part of that orchestra has their part, and it's the details. It's every little note matters.
Yeah. Oh man,
that's cool.
That's so good, and it's Yeah, it's amazing. I wish I could do that. I wish I could.
Me too.
I wish I could put all that stuff together.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, well, and then the other thing is coming to the title here is your checklist. So your checklist is your compass. And so, like when you're in a high pressure situation, whether it be like in business, there's a lot of things in my work that are, high stakes, high profile people,
deadlines.
Yeah. And so the checklist is key. Like I found this, and this probably actually stems from I'm working on something in my work that I'm trying to make a bunch of these checklists for training for other people. And because it's something that when I started, it would have been so helpful because there's the processes that I have to do. It's so much red tape. There's so many little details that you have to do it's crazy. And so I'm trying to create this checklist where it's not going to make it necessarily simple, but it will, at least you won't like, oh, I have to go back and do that.
Yeah. You're creating that system.
Yeah, exactly.
And so let me ask you this, and you're like your work field, like dumb question, right? But like how valuable is that system that you've established all these years, and then going to where you're at now, having that daily checklist or that system in place already that even when things get chaotic, no, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is our goal. This is our plan. You always have that to fall back on, and that's like your stability, I guess. Does that make sense?
It is. Yeah, that's key. That's a good point. I think that it is, because the thing is like, there's a lot of things that I can, fly by the seat of my pants and do fairly well because of experience.
Yeah.
But if that's how you operate, one thing is I think that's the good to great thing. You're just good.
Sure.
And you'll never be great. But the other thing is then when you get out of your environment where you don't have the experience anymore and it's high pressure, high stakes,
you crumble.
Now, you crumble. What do you have to fall back on? And that's one of the things that I was kind of, I might have this in here already. I probably do. Oh, I do. That's the next note. But when you have a checklist or a process, it actually, I feel like it supplies freedom. It's not a constraint.
It does. That's huge. And, we'll probably get into it as well. And I think I mentioned this the last time we talked, kind of roughly on the subject, is one of my biggest hangups is I'll get the dream.
Yeah.
I'll get a dream, but I don't break that down into goals very well.
Yeah, right.
So I'll see, okay, I'm here and I want to get here, but I don't see as Pastor Burgess says, the blood, sweat, and tears that these other people that have done it. I just see where I'm at now and where people are that have done it. That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
But I don't see that daily grind that, okay, they had to do this, then they did this. And it was a continued building and work. And then they got there. Now they're living in that freedom.
Yeah.
But they had those years of consistent work and consistent being driven every day in those goals and those checklists to get them where they're at.
Yeah.
And now they're living in that freedom,
Yeah, it's incredible. I just heard an interview with Jimmy John, the guy that started Jimmy John's.
I love Jimmy John's.
And it's a really neat interview. It's on what's that guy for Dave Ramsey, Ken Coleman.
Ken Coleman's great.
And so anyway, but he talks about that basically he grinded for years and years and years.
I mean, a pretty big competition. There's quite a few sandwich shops.
Yeah. And he's sold it now. And he's a multi-billionaire, I think. But he was like, he was telling the story, and he was grinding even after he hit $1 million, and he was like, oh, well, I guess I'm a millionaire now. But he's still,
back to work.
Go back to work. So, okay, we're taking way too long on this stuff. So let's go on to the next one is systems deserve micromanagement. Now, I had titled this different, then I changed it because what I wanted to mention is that micromanagement gets a bad rap.
Sure.
But nobody likes to be micromanaged, right? I mean, I am blessed, my work, I like my work, but it can be very difficult, but I have a lot of autonomy.
Sure.
I do it how I want to do it. And so Did you just see that?
I
Something
did.
fell.
I did see that. Wasn't going to mention it. It is a bug. He has passed on from this earth. He is completely dead.
Wow.
Let us pray.
So, but if we can have systems in place, those should be micromanaged.
Sure.
And so if we can micromanage, so let's bring this back to Sunday school and children's ministry. If we can have a system in place of like, this is how we do things, this is how we operate, and then manage that ruthlessly.
Yeah.
Manage that down to the minute detail.
Yeah.
And this came out of that interview I was just talking about with Jimmy Jones. As he talked about everything from like cleaning toilets.
Sure.
He would have a checklist.
That's awesome.
Everything was detailed, and he was basically, he said, and I think Ken Coleman asked him something about micromanaging, and he mentioned that, like, you micromanage the systems. So you had this, everything had these checklists. So I think that when we can micromanage the systems, and then I wrote a note, boundaries create freedom. Basically, when we have the system and like you think of something specific, like the script, right? The Sunday school script. When we have that, and today we had a chaotic mess with one of the pieces of the script,
and it just snowballed from that point.
Man. Oh yeah. So, and it was because somebody didn't know it really well.
Well, and I was on stage, unfortunately, when it happened, and somebody jumped the gun, and we're like, "All right, well, here we go. Let's just roll with it."
You have to roll with it, but and it was fine. It was one of those disasters. I guess we should talk about it because we talk about the magic of disasters. Yeah. So what it was is we had in practice, and you weren't here because of work, and plus you were covering for somebody that missed, but. In practice, we even walked through this. Like, we blocked it. We went over to the side we're on right here.
Yeah.
And so we were like, basically what the idea was, our whole premise was James 4:17. When you know to do good, you don't do it.
Right.
It's sin. And so Sammy, our dunce character, all the recruits got all these equipment, the brand new equipment, and Sammy was scared of damaging his new equipment, so he kept it locked up in a case.
Yeah, his night vision goggles.
Yeah, and so what we had planned is we were going to go to the next outside, to the next room, and turn off all the lights. And there's, we have a little bit of ambient light, but not much, so it's pretty dark. And they were going to go over where the bad guys are. And this is how, or this is the way he could see him is use his night vision goggles.
Yeah.
And so, and we practiced all of this. We like walked through it. And it's like, okay, so then what you say is, Sammy, use your night vision goggles.
Yes.
And he'd be like, no, I don't want to. And then they get captured because he doesn't want to. So, should I say the name?
Have you had this person on yet?
One time.
Okay.
So anyway, somebody, you know who you are, somebody got there, recruited some of the kids for their bad guys, and then Brennan and you and whoever is up there
We're
on
just
stage.
We're showing off our weapons and we get attacked.
Getting ready to they go on the mission.
Yeah, waiting for the lights to go off. Here they come
inside the room on stage.
They throw the nets on us and tie us up. We're like, oh, you're too early. Oh my Lord.
I came out. I'm running around because we were doing a fundraiser and I was trying to get some stuff ready. I run around. I come out backstage. I'm like, what is going on? And I motion to Brennan. I'm like, just go. Because he looks at me and he puts his hands up like, what are we doing?
As he's being a net thrown over his head.
I'm like, just go. So on my way out the door, I turned off the one half. I was like, well, at least get some dark. I don't know. So that was a disaster.
Yeah.
But coming all the way back to the podcast today, what we're trying to talk about is basically that micromanagement. If you have that system and that script and you know it well, it actually provides freedom.
It does.
And so I had the example is I read this a long time ago. There was an experiment done with at like a school, I think, and these kids, there was a playground, same size playground and everything, and maybe it was the same playground, I don't know, but they had a playground and there was no fence. And they observed these kids. I don't remember what length of time, but they observed the kids, and the kids were not super active. They would like go on the swings a little bit, maybe go on the slide, and they all stayed really close to the the toys in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did the experiment where they had a playground, same size playground, with a fence around it. And the kids were super active. They would go all over that playground and run around. Isn't that crazy?
Boundaries.
Because they knew where the boundary was. And so I don't know if it's the best example. It's a really cool story. But I think that if we know our boundary, if we know our script, or if you're doing a Bible story, if you know your Bible story inside out, if you're doing a puppet show, if you know the script inside and out, whatever it is, the song, whatever, if you know it inside and out, then it gives you the freedom
it does
to ad-lib or to expound and make it better, to put the emotion in the right spot, all of those little details.
It's true.
It makes it better because you have that micromanagement in place, you know.
It's true, and I found that to be true in, I want to say, the secular world, the business world, because I started a commercial cleaning company back in April, and slow rolling it, and I've got a few contracts, and it's slowly growing. Yeah. The goal is for it to be autonomous, have people that clean, and I kind of manage it and let it grow. Right. But I have found, everybody knows how to clean. Everybody can clean, right? Right. But then when it comes to like the commercial side, I've watched YouTube videos and I've wrote down how to mop. Like people don't know how to mop. There's a right way to mop. And so each business has their own checklist. Like, we customize a little bit for them to see, okay, do you want this done, this done? Yeah, I don't want that done. I want this done. But by the time we walk away, I know, and if I was to hand it off to somebody, hey, go do this, they'll have a checklist. And they know, okay, this is everything I got to get done today. This is the correct order. Then it gives you that freedom, like you said, to maybe focus on one more than the other. But you've got, because you walk in, you're like, okay, I got to clean this whole house. What do I do?
Yeah, exactly. It's this big,
big project,
the big
right?
elephant.
Yeah, but then you break it down, one bite at a time, and it gives you that freedom. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's good. And I guess kind of with this, the next note I have is culture grows in structure. And so when you have that, I feel like, and this maybe seems like a yin-yang or dichotomy or something, but I feel like, let's use that example you just talked about. If you had an employee that you gave them the job and you say, here's the checklist, I feel like that actually gives them more freedom and more than if you're like, I don't know, micromanaging them, like telling them, okay, now go do this, now go do that, now go. When you say, okay, here's the checklist, and it kind of comes back to the fundamentals, like basketball, you shoot it properly or whatever. It comes back to the fundamentals is, okay, a great example, and I should have, I just thought of this, but it would have been great to have the details, but like airplanes, when they're getting ready to take off, there's a checklist that they run through, a huge checklist. And it doesn't matter if they might have flown thousands of flights, but they always go through the checklist. They always run the checklist. Always. And so, and it might be like, that might seem too lofty and like, oh, well, of course it's an airplane. But I mean, pilots, they're working just like anybody else. And it could be tempting to be like, oh, I know how to do this. Let's go through it. But it's like in sports, keep your eye on the ball all the way till it hits your racket or whatever, the same thing. So it's the fundamentals. And so if we can have that structure and discipline, I guess, to maintain that checklist, Yeah,
it's very true. And then, if you get a phone call from a client, they're like, my trash wasn't emptied. All the trash doesn't get emptied. And you look and you're like, well, you call your employee and they're like, hey, I did the checklist. Well, you missed this one because you didn't do it.
You didn't do it. Yeah. Okay. And then, so let's go on to checklist shaped culture. We kind of talked about that a little bit. So also, I guess with that too is it doesn't just remind us of what to do; it reminds us of what matters. Yeah. So like one of the things I've mentioned this several times, but with our altar call in Sunday school, we have on our script we have 6 minutes. Yeah. And so we have on our timers, the stage timer, it's 6 minutes. Now our rule basically is this: if if altar call is going well and the kids are responding, the move of God is there, we don't even care about the timer. We just let it run over.
Yeah.
It turns red and it's counting up. That's fine. And we will go however long.
Sure.
But on the other hand, I mean, I know other Sunday schools don't have this, but we do. Sometimes we have altar calls that are not stellar.
Yeah. True.
And so I'm sure every other Sunday school has great altar calls every Sunday,
Amen.
but we don't. Lord, we're praying, we're trying to get there. So sometimes we have altar calls that are a little bit frigid and just it's like, oh man, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
That sounds carnal, but so our rule is that's where the timer really matters.
Yes.
Is because you push it at least 6 minutes. You go at least to that timer, and then if it didn't break, no breakthrough or you just couldn't get there, fine, go on to the next segment.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things. It's kind of a checklist idea.
Sure.
Is you at least go that far.
Yeah.
You at least push it that far.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and I know we got to wrap up, but here's the one other thing I wanted to say with the going back to the checklist idea, and you touched on this when you asked me about work. This is on train. They train our fallback. James Clear wrote a really good book, Atomic Habits, and in that he says, I'm going to probably butcher this, but it's something like this. It's something like, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, right? And so, and this other thing, I really like this. He says, winners and losers have the same goal.
Yeah.
Winners and losers have the same goal. The winners have a system to get there, though.
Yeah.
And so, so back to that, like we talked about earlier, like with the chaos or whatever, if you have a checklist, and so imagine like going into Sunday school, and we've done it before without a script, and you're just going to ad-lib everything.
Sure.
We've done it, and we could do it fairly well with the right people because we have experience. But when you have this script, and that's your default, you can fall back on it. Then today we had chaos.
Yeah.
And we just had to roll with it.
We rolled with it.
And then, and you said it snowballed. It did. There was some other things that went wrong. But
then offering happens, or member verse happens.
And so it's like, okay, you're coming back to the script. You're coming back, And somebody was saying, even right in the beginning, they were like, what did they say? Oh, I think my daughter, she was like, why are they still up there? They're over time. Because we have a timer backstage, and she's looking at the timer. She's like, what are they doing? And I think Brother Keith or something, he's like, well, I went over on my time. So they're probably, I said, no. When it rolls over, it's new. I mean, there's a clock that shows the total time, but nobody's looking at that.
Yeah.
It shows the countdown. It's a new countdown for your, 3 minutes or whatever.
Right.
And so it's fresh and new each time.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings you back to zero. It brings you back to your baseline.
Which is nice because, I mean, if you have those, I know this is about Sunday school, but just in life in general, you have those systems in place. That way it does allow for that freedom to where if you do mess up, like going back to say you're supposed to be on keto and you mess up and have pasta or something, just a ton of carbs.
Yeah.
I guess what's really easy for the rest of that day to eat ice cream and, just go crazy. I blew it, so let's just go all out. But it's that system that say, okay, tomorrow, back at it. And when you've developed that habit and that system, it's just, you messed up, you're right back on it the next day like nothing happened. You just keep going.
There's a famous speech, it was a popular YouTube video. I think the guy's written a book now, but it's Admiral somebody. He was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
About make your bed.
Make your bed.
Yeah. And he talks about, I think it was a college speech or something. It's famous. I'm sure most people have seen it.
Yeah.
But, and he it's so good. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but basically I remember one of the things he says, and then basically if everything just falls apart that day, at least you come home and your bed's made.
Yeah. That's huge. Value of the system.
Yeah, you have a system in place. All right, well, let's just a quick recap. So greatness is built on the small things.
Yeah.
So success and greatness is built on the small things. It's not when we see these big successes or we point at something, it's cool, but there was small steps to get there. And then systems deserve micromanagement. And I know we could do better on this in our Sunday school, but if we can have systems in place and then just ruthlessly manage those systems, don't let it slide. Like this week, I don't know, the bathroom doesn't look that messy. We don't need to clean it this week. It matters. Ruthlessly manage those, because it doesn't matter. And then checklists shape the culture. And so if you have checklists and systems essentially in place, then that can shape your culture. Culture is a big thing. That's a whole nother podcast. But culture, a lot of it can be organic, but when you have the systems and the checklists in place, it allows you, like as a leader, it allows you to be organic. It allows you to, because you have the system, like this is what we do. After Sunday school, we clean this and this and this or whatever. And it allows you to then, use your personality or whatever your strength is to develop relationships and all of that, because you have this checklist behind you, you have the structure behind you.
Yeah, it's huge.
All right. Well, just a list really quick. If you want to see this on video, if you listen to the audio, you can look us up on YouTube. In fact, I think that's where most of our listeners are. And so you can search YouTube Kidmin Backstage, and we should come up. Or the name of the channel is @Gabe-Baker. And then there's a few podcasts we want to call out. So Apostolic Children's Ministry 2.0 with Brother Philip Booker. He's about to be with us. And then Apostolic Children's Network with Brother Chris Bradshaw over in Tennessee. Growing Up with Papa with Brother Jason Ashley. And then the Sunday School Minute with Brother Eric Stender. And then 2 podcasts, Truism and the Sunday School Junkie with Brother James Pelletier. So those are some great podcasts to listen to in addition to Kidmin Backstage.
Amen.
All right, well, that's a wrap.